We have someone special with us who's been a head boy of the school, a passionate drummer, a fairly good cook, who's labored hard and is known nationally. Let's welcome Honorable Simon Bridges. So Simon, welcome to Sevens TV.
Thank you so much.
It's lovely to have you around for the episode of This Is Me. This episode is all about you. So we are all excited to know the other side of you. And with your permission, I'm going to address you as Simon.
Yes, please.
We're connecting with you from your childhood.
Yes.
So tell us a little about your younger days.
Well, I grew up very close to here. So we're at Rutherford College in West Auckland in Te Atu. And my father was a Baptist minister, and so we lived in the, what they called the manse, the church house, right there, and it's very communal, a lot of people, always people around. My mother was a primary school teacher, but she devoted herself to family, and I'm the youngest of 6 children, so...
Were you the most pampered?
Absolutely. I would say, they would say my older brothers and sisters spoiled. I would say well nurtured is how I would describe it. But great, very full family environment. And with that and the church and so on, in the young days, that took up a lot of time.
Lovely. Now that we're here in Rutherford College, what are your nostalgic memories?
Well, so I went to Rutherford Primary across the road, and then Te Atu Intermediate. I came here, and so many memories, good memories basically. I got involved in a lot of things. I loved school. Not everyone does, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed coming every day. Had really good group of mates. And I got myself into debating, some music, a little bit of sport, and just I just remember it being action-packed, always doing things, very, very busy time.
Were you more academic, or I see you a lot into extracurricular?
Yeah.
So which were the favorite subjects that you liked?
Look, I probably was an academic. I've always seen myself as someone who likes books, likes ideas. That's where my first love of politics came from. And so my favorite subjects were, I enjoyed English, probably actually at school, history. I had some fantastic history teachers who, I enjoyed challenging. I'm not sure they liked me as much as I liked them, but, I was very vocal with them. And also like economics, because I suppose it's a bit like history. It's about what makes the world work, and what's going on in government and society and economy. So they would have been my favourite subjects, and I was an enthusiast. I put everything into it. It wasn't, I wasn't sort of someone who didn't like kind of doing the work, or I enjoyed it. And
you were the head boy of the school. So what made you get up on that platform?
Well, I suppose hard to say, but I had the things I did well at school. I was strong academically. I wasn't the best, but I was up there. I pursued some of the extracurricular work pretty fully, debating, very involved in that, and I think we took Rutherford College to near the top in that, certainly in Auckland, although I think we got kicked out at the national level. And then other things like music. I was in the school show and things like that. So, I think I wasn't one of the coolest kids, but I wasn't one of the, kids people didn't like being around. I think it's reasonably popular, and I got nothing but warm memories of that time, and then stepping into that leadership role was very good for me.
I think we got a very good cue that he sings well. Probably in the next episode, we should ask you to share a little song of yours.
I don't know if I do anymore, but back then I tried. Actually, I played the drums as well.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't do that so much at school. I did that more outside of school. But music has always been a big thing for me. I've always loved it.
Now on to your university life. What was your major and what did you specialize in?
Funnily enough, I suppose maybe there's some irony in this, but I originally wanted to be a journalist. And so I applied for that. I didn't get into that. I applied from sixth form. What's that now? Year 12, I think they call it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get in. So I did seventh, and I was head boy of that year. And then I really wanted at that time to do political science and to be get a PhD and lecture in politics. But my father I had an older brother, Timothy, who was a lawyer and had done well in that. And so my father really wanted to be a lawyer. So I grudgingly did law and arts. And look, in the end, I'm very glad I did that. I loved both. It took me a while to warm into law, but the arts was in politics and history. I did well at that. But it was a different time than today, when we live in an age of free fees and interest-free student loans and these things. I worked several jobs. I worked cafes, bars, as a librarian, actually shelving, doing things like that. And at Food Town it was then, which is now, I think, is at Countdown. So a lot of work, both for pay to get through, and also, at university. And by the end, though, I really grew to love law, and the politics was great as well.
Yeah, but at what stage exactly did you tune yourself into politics?
Well, I think in truth, I tuned into politics very early. I can remember as a 10, 11, 12-year-old being given books. Or I think one of them, I've still got it actually. We've got it on my bookshelf for my kids, but they're slightly too young, but hopefully they'll enjoy it in later times, about democracy and government. It was an Osborne book. It had all the pictures. So I've always, we had a series of books for children on US presidents. I've always sort of been switched on to it. But then what happened is, university, you've got to get a job. I've never had the view that you just go into politics straight from school and university. So I went and worked as a Crown prosecutor, and then in truth, when I was 32, I had the opportunity. I was still involved in the National Party. I was the chairman of the electorate of Tauranga, where I'm now the Member of Parliament. And I had the opportunity because Bob Clarkson, the Member of Parliament who'd beaten Winston Peters, he decided he didn't want to go again. And I sort of knew I had to make that critical decision. Would I go for it or would I not? And I decided to take what was, at the time, in hindsight, people think, it was easy, but a risk, and I stood for Parliament and went for it. But I think, in truth, if I hadn't done that then, I would probably still be a lawyer today.
Absolutely. So it was a deep inner passion that you had.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Or was it like somebody inspired you or motivated you to get into this?
I think it was a bit of both, but I think it was internal. It didn't really come from family.
Because it's been in you from younger days. So
yes. Look, it didn't come necessarily, as I say, from family. I mean, we talked politics around the dinner table. We certainly watched the 6 o'clock news. All of that was there. But I think it was something inside. I could just tell it was how the world worked. It was what made the world go around. And so always interested in it. But nothing's inevitable. It didn't necessarily have to happen, but it did. And I've been greatly blessed by a very interesting political career. I feel a real privilege to be able to do what I do and help shape New Zealand society.
That's awesome. Now let's get to the exciting part. How did you meet your wife?
Well, Natalie, my better half, is
your
from
best
England.
Half?
My best half, the best half. I couldn't do anything without Natalie. I couldn't tie my shoelaces without Natalie. She's from the UK. And after I've been working a little while as a lawyer and then a Crown prosecutor doing jury trials, I went and did a master's at Oxford University. And at Oxford you live in colleges. And so we were in St Catherine's College, and the way that works is, it's based on medieval times, and you've got a big square and you go in there. I went in, I bumped into her in the corridor, and we said hello. And not long after that, because we were in the same common room, there's junior common room, there's middle common room for those doing masters, and she was doing a master's in English literature. She told me she went home that day we first met and bumped into each other, and told her mother on the phone that she met an incredibly handsome Japanese man. So there you go. So that was very early on, and then we started going out, and we literally got married at the end of my year in Oxford in a 1,000-year-old chapel.
So that was quite quick from when you met her.
You know, that's not the way these days, but when I know what I want, I know what I want. And I also knew I needed to get Natalie back to New Zealand because my heart was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay in the United Kingdom. She was 21, 22 when we got married, and she came back, and that's now 14, 15 years later, and 3 wonderful children later.
So is she happy about the move to New Zealand now after so many years?
You know, it's a funny thing from her perspective. She's a Kiwi now because she has spent nearly all of her adult life in New Zealand, but what she misses is her family, and it's the same for many people who come to another country. You know, she doesn't necessarily miss the UK that much, I don't think, but she misses her mum and dad. But you know, the truth is they can visit a lot, and we've got an unwritten contract that we go back to the UK as a family reasonably regularly as well.
Yeah, that's lovely. And being a dad, how do you feel, and what are the best moments with your children?
I feel a great a responsibility as a father. Actually, I love it, but it's probably my hardest job. It's hard work. I've got 2 great boys, but they are full of energy, and they run around. They're very physical. And then I've got a wonderful little daughter called Jemima. And so, you know, we're doing a lot of things. I can tell you after this interview, I'm going back home, and we're going camping tonight. So, you know, my philosophy on children is that, you know, in my circumstances, obviously I'm not there as much as some dads, but when I am there, I make sure it counts, and we do some good fun things so that they've got memories. And I think the important things that they know, you know, who their dad is, what, you know, our values are, and what we're about.
And how do you strike a balance between family life and your profession?
Look, I don't think it's perfect. It will never be exactly like a jigsaw, but you just got to make that struggle of the juggle, as my wife calls it, work. And I couldn't do it without Natalie, my wife. She does a wonderful job. She has a successful business. She employs people, so she does that as well as really, you know, the lion's share of what's required with the children, because obviously I'm just not there to take them to school, to take them to music practice and sport and all these things. So it's a team effort, but a pretty unequal one, with Natalie doing most of it, I've got to say.
And Simon, tell us about the challenges that you faced and the learnings that you have had from it.
Look, many challenges. I think one of them is just, if there's one thing I think is very important, is persistence. I think about here at Rutherford College, where we are. It's a great school. I enjoyed going here. I got a lot out of it. But I wasn't necessarily the smartest student. I wasn't necessarily the most athletic. I wasn't necessarily the best at music and the things that I did. But I believe, you know, getting up and doing it the best that you can every day over time shows through. You know, there'll always be more talented people, but it's what you do with what you've given it, the talents that you've been given, that is so important. And so I think that persistence over time shows through. You know, they talk about an instrument or any kind of serious endeavor. You know, I think they talk about 1,000 hours. You know, you've got to give to that, and I think that's true. I think it's day in, day out, doing your best at something, and that's how you can, you know, make the biggest contribution in society.
That's lovely, the lines of wisdom that you're passing on to the youth now, because there is a perception that it's pretty easy to get to the top. But there's a lot that you go through to get there.
That's right.
So if you just have to sum up as one sentence to say to the youth, that what are the words that you would like to share?
Look, I think I'm picking up on what you said. Success doesn't happen in a day. It's hard fought for. And, you know, there's a saying that the harder I work, the luckier I become. And I think that's true.
Simon, we are having a quick rapid 7 round and your answers have to be exciting and crisp. Okay, all set for it? Okay, here we go. Describe yourself in one sentence.
I think earnest, hardworking and friendly.
If you weren't a politician, what would you be?
Boringly a lawyer, but I would love to be a drummer in a rock band.
If you were to be cast in a movie of your choice, which movie would it be? And whose role would you play?
Who would I be? Look, I would love to say James Bond, but I think more realistically, possibly Mr. Bean.
Okay, so coming to the James Bond, would you like your vodka martini shaken or stirred?
I would like a martini. Problem is, you know, after one martini, I'm very shaken and very stirred.
Okay. What is the best dish you have cooked?
Oh, golly. I do a pretty good a rice stir fry that my children love. So that's followed by pancakes, just the way my mother did them with lemon and sugar.
Awesome. So waiting for an invite.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's simple, but it's good.
Okay. What was your first job?
Food Town, Te Atatu North, and now, of course, called Te Atatu Peninsula. Packing.
Okay.
Yeah.
The most treasured thing that you own?
Oh gosh, you've really got me here. The most treasured thing I own. You know, it's probably collectively my books. I love books and I've got a lot of them and they all bring back memories.
And something that you still wish to learn?
I would love to learn languages. I would love to be able to speak Māori fluently and some other languages as well. I think that would be a real privilege.
So that's wonderful. And Simon has completed his rapid 7 round quickly. Okay, now we on to a creative round, Simon.
Oh gosh.
Be prepared for it, and that's a lot of fun. Okay, we get on to our creative round. So Simon, now we're on to the creative round. You have 3 colors of clay in front of you. You're going to have 2 minutes. When I say start, the clock starts ticking. You can create whatever you want with the clay, but after the 2 minutes, you've got to explain what it is and why you've done it, the significance of what you've done.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So you've got no time to think. It's within the 2 minutes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, start.
Right. This is going to be either really good or really bad. 2 minutes is not very long, is it? Okay.
It's not very long.
Okay. Oh gosh, the pressure.
That's what makes it exciting.
Because we've got some time here because I've actually been. I hope you can tell what this is. This is, you know, this is not.
You can explain after a couple of minutes.
Let's give it some.
We still have 50 seconds to go.
Okay. Well, look, since we've got a bit of time, let's just head to our birthday.
We have 40 seconds to go.
Oh, plenty of time. Look,
yeah.
I'm on fire here.
Seconds to go.
Oh.
Yeah, we done. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now it's time for Simon to explain what he has done.
Well, what we have here is a car. So I hope you can see that obviously from what I've done here. You know, this is the wheels. I put a spoiler on the back. So it's a fast sports car. It has some headlights at the back, windscreen and so on. And then I thought I would keep with that theme, and I have done a plane. So this is a commercial aircraft. You can see the windows along the side, obviously the wings, and there's the front, the cockpit, and there's the tail at the back. And you asked me to give a meaning to all of this.
Yeah.
Well, look, part of it is I was Transport Minister for 3 years. You know, I was there opening Waterview Tunnel, doing a lot of infrastructure. I just like transport. I've always liked it. I like planes, cars, trains, bikes. I like all of that stuff. It's action. But I suppose if I was to find a metaphor for all of this, I think that it's, you know, that you've got to move forward in life. You need to be driven, and that's how you will suck the most out of everything that this wonderful country, New Zealand, has to offer.
Awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
And we discover Simon as a great creative artist out here.
Hey, that turned out better than I thought it would.
This is a masterpiece, and you'll have a picture of this to share with your children.
On Trade Me shortly with a reserve of $1.
We're not going to auction this, Simon. This is for Sevens TV.
It's priceless.
Yeah, it's priceless. Thanks for this.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. So thanks, Simon, for being in the show. Very happy to have you around. And thanks for sharing all this for Sevens TV. And looking forward to a lot more surprises from you.
Thank you so much. It's been great to be with you.
Thanks for your time. Thank you. So see you all soon with more exciting episodes of This Is Me. This is Shobha from Sevens TV.